After a 3-year hiatus that left fans dissecting every Joji social media post, he has returned with his fourth album, Piss in the Wind. It was released today on February 6, 2026, and it's notable because it is the first album he's releasing under his own solo label, independent label, Palace Creek, notably having left 88 rising quite dramatically. This isn't just a new album for Joji, this is a opportunity and an attempt to reclaim his artistic identity. This album attempts to move away from the polished stuff we heard on 2022 Smithereens. It leans more aggressively into that lo-fi, gritty stuff that we know Joji from albums like Ballads 1. It's an attempt to return to form with this ugly beauty that Joji is known for, and abandon the sleekness from usual top 40 hits. Tracks like Pixelated Kisses and Last of a Dying Breed use the mellotron, which just screams 1960s psychedelia. He uses the mellotron to put flutes and strings on the album, which make them sound so nostalgic and like from another era, because that's what the mellotron is. For me, the structure of the album is its most polarizing aspect. 21 tracks, most of them under 2 minutes long. It can make the album feel half-baked and fragmentary. However, there is an upside to the shortness of the tracks. Of course, when you're doing these sad boy ballads like Joji does, you do not want to overstay your welcome. It's ideal to kind of say as much as you need to and then check out. But does Joji say as much as he needs to, or could he use some extra time to marinate his thoughts and his expression? It's important to make sure that your audience does not feel fatigued when you have such a long track list. The songs usually end abruptly, which is works out quite well for Joji, because of course he wants the audience to feel a sense of longing, and it's definitely felt by me as I listen to this album. Any 21 track album is going to feel like a slog. Even the Beatles' White Album has some tracks where if you're not in the mood, you're just hoping get over with as quick as possible. You may even skip them. Despite the insular bedroom pop kind of feel of some of these tracks, Joji is not alone. He has some collaborations on this album which are equally as polarizing as the track list length and the length of the songs. Piece of You with Givian is one of the standout tracks where they both trade R&B bars for back and forth over emotional lyrics. Lush cinematic sound and production, making this sound like one of the most expensive and expressive songs on the album. Then we get Don Toliver, who only a week ago released his album Octane. He brings a psychedelic feel which merges quite well with Joji's R&B fundamentals. It's a pair that maybe people don't think of would work on paper, but the love of textured songs certainly makes it an interesting listen. Despite the appeal of these two tracks being instantly recognizable, I do wonder what could have been done with more time per track. The song lengths really are the standout itching point for me. Longer tracks obviously benefit artists, especially when there's a collaboration and they need to prove their musical chemistry together. You cannot do that in 2 minutes. When I saw there was a track called Hotel California on the album, I thought that Joji was going to do an Eagles cover, but this is actually probably one of the most hard-hitting songs on the album, as Joji kind of discusses his struggle with being this superstar, famous guy. Of course, he's been famous for a long time, even pre his music career. However, he has never reached this level of fame until quite recently. He talks about feeling like an outsider, and as though he deals with imposter syndrome, as if he is in a place where he does not fit in. Piss in the Wind is a fascinating work. It seemingly gives a middle finger to the constraints that Joji felt under a major label. But that isn't without a hitch. Conventions exist for a reason, and the album can feel lackluster because of the short runtime and the length of the track listing. It can feel like a slow burn, slower than it should be. But because of the unrefined production and the collaborations which with big stars that kind of give that unrefined production an extra punch, this definitely feels like a calculated attempt to redirect by Joji artistically. It's not an easy listen. The mix certainly relies on a mood over melody and raw texture over commercialization. For those who became fans of Joji during the Glimpse of Us era, this may be a disappointing album, but for those who have been around for a long time, maybe since the beginning, this will feel like quite a exciting return to form for Joji. But is it an exciting return to form? This record proves that Joji's greatest strength is to kind of prove commitment via chaos. While the length of the tracklist, of course, leads to some filler being there, the highs are high enough to kind of present Joji as an author, as an artist who is independent of any label. I think he's escaped the major label sound to create a landscape that is his own, for better or for worse. I'd probably give this album a 6 out of 10.